Hello, and flipping heck. Hello and welcome. I'd already planned to warn you how my brain is not with it today, but I think I've exemplified that right off the bat. Hello and welcome to another Stephen Allen Almost Daily. Don't have young kids, mate. So welcome along to another look through the newspapers. We'll get all of that lark done. If you want to get in touch during this as well, social media at Mr. Stephen Allen. And thank you for people still enjoying the theme tune, which, in case you've only just recently joined these live streams, was originally me trying to think, wouldn't it be funny to mock AI by getting AI to do a theme tune? So I did that one day, and then it's just better than the one I had before. So, Joodle says, nice start. Yes, nice. I'm like 4 coffees down, but it's not going to touch the sides today. I'm brutally aware of this. Let's start off with a look at the front pages. So we have front page of the Daily Star, Bling Oval Office fake. Fool's Gold is their headline. The story on the inside is about how Donald Trump, my chair's not rocking either, there we go. Donald Trump boasted that he's made, the thing, he likes gold stuff, and people have tracked down that some of the things in the background of the shot are like 43-pound plastic things sprayed in gold. Good. I'm not going to judge the guy for that because it wouldn't be his money, would it? It would be the American people's money. I think the same thing happens over here as well. I want the government to spend not a lot of money on the government. I don't want them having nicer things than me. I'm gutted by the fact that Poundland is shutting anyway. The one place where I could walk around and feel like I was Johnny Big Potatoes. I could walk in Poundland in the old days and be like, anything in here I can afford. Not many shops I feel like that. I mean, these days when they don't charge £1 for stuff, I still can't. This is why the Timo app is a good thing. More details on that later. What else? We get rid of that one. Front page of the Daily Telegraph has 4 in 5 NHS hospitals failing, which I think is shocking news because that means that 1 in 5 isn't. When you look at the league table of worst and best, the second from the bottom is the one where Lucy Letby was, which really makes you think the one at the bottom, oof. Something's gone wrong if this particular time in history, if you've managed to do worse than that. The front page of the Daily Express, shocking toll of 500,000 sick days at the tax offices. But then just be careful about the opposite of this. Be careful what you're asking for. Do you want the taxman to work more? It's a tricky one, isn't it? It's like when they talk about the cost of bank holidays. The argument against having more bank holidays in the UK is because it's like £2.8 billion, apparently, the cost of a bank holiday. But I also remember the cost of having banks working because I lived through 2008. So it's very difficult to know which one's the best one. Front page of the Mirror, don't be fooled by a Farage clown act. At least it's, entertainment. At least I don't mind a bit of clowning. Better than the misery we've got at the moment. Look, it's interesting, isn't it? And of all the people to say that, it's the Chancellor lifts lid on Reform's fantasy economic plan. Interesting take, brave Rachel Reeves. I think people are saying she's safe in her job at the moment because she wasn't reshuffled in the reshuffle. And also the last time she cried, the bond markets panicked, meaning that they fear what's worse. So maybe she thinks like she's the big Mac daddy these days. The front page of The Times. Macron loses another PM. That's going to be interesting to watch that one go out. And there's the story about visa threat to states not taking back migrants. This is a thing that loads of people have tried to punish the Labour Party for not doing. They should do something like this. They suggested it ages ago, and maybe it is going to come in. So more on that later. I say more on that later. Not on this middle of the day broadcast where we find stupid news stories. I'll talk about that rubbish when we're actually on telly. But this one, shocking. Prince Harry battling with a young child. Makes you sick, doesn't it? Makes you absolutely sick. Anyway, there's your front pages sorted. So let's do the main bit.
Let's get inside the news.
Yep, that was a bit smoother. We've got working at the HMRC is sickening and taxing, says Proper Memes in the comment section. It is. I don't really feel sorry for anyone working at HMRC. I suppose if they get caught doing some sort of tax fiddle, they're more likely to be fired. But they're not going to get caught, are they? If there's one thing knowing all the tax rules should do, it means you get away with some stuff. Also, I don't want to say mean things about HMRC because they keep sending me emails saying, vaguely threatening. We can start with some of the news stories. Here we go. And by the way, the latest add to the technology is, how some of these, let's put the news story down, Some of these stories, they're a bit difficult to zoom in on. Some of them are too small. Oh, I've got a zoomed in version now. Drones could soon whiz life-saving defibrillators to heart attack patients in remote locations. This is good. I like this. Warwick University. They were my second choice. Eggheads at Warwick University tested whether they're faster than ambulances. Of course they are. And it's great, isn't it, that you could zoom those out there. It's better than what we have in towns. I don't know if you've noticed this, but they seem to put loads of defibrillators in phone boxes. I like the ones in the shopping centre make sense. If ever I collapse clutching my chest in a dramatic Hollywood-style scene, I hope someone whips all over there, whips one out. But the ones in phone boxes I worry about, because the sign that says defibrillator, it's not massive. Some old confused person thinks that's where you go to make a phone call. By the time they've taken all the bits out and they, hello, Whitehall 211, I'm not sure if it's dangerous if you have to hold down buttons, but I don't know. Someone could do it one day, trying to make a reverse chargers call. And, chargers would have been the joke. It's all very well improv this stuff, isn't it? I'll keep that to one side. Is your table there a news desk? Says Proper Memes in the comment section. I guess it is. I've worked on the odd news desk in my days. Fries cook up a storm at Brekkie. This story is apparently Generation Z people, and we all know I get in trouble for talking about Generation Z, included in a compilation on Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, where apparently I was losing it about Gen Zs. I'm just reading out what's in the papers, bro. Gen Z people love chomping on chips for breakfast. Almost a quarter do it twice a week. I suppose it does feel a bit weird, but I can't believe this story is that big in a newspaper. There are other things to be wigged out about, isn't it? The equivalent of nearly 1 million young folk aged 13 to 28 swerve the healthy options. Avocado, juggle, that's a millennial thing, isn't it? And muesli, and they have fried potatoes instead. But if I say to you hash browns, yeah, there you go. It's not a story, is it? People eat potato at breakfast? No. The Daily Mail, here we go. This one we need to go the opposite way instead of zooming out. Still not. I've plugged the camera into a different USB port. It's still flicking like an absolute good, isn't it? The Daily Mail says, if you're reading this, the chances are your brain is all shipshape. The Daily Mail is saying this. It's because those who adopt a newspaper hour each day are likely to protect their brain's health, according to experts. So they're saying that reading the Daily Mail would have made sense. I need to have that auto stop, don't I? Reading the Daily Mail is good for your brain. It might, maybe doing the Sudokus. There are some bits of the Daily Mail that are not good for your brain, put it that way. I can't help but think there's a strong chance that some of the terror the Daily Mail tries to put into your life is going to addle your brain. But apparently it lowers the risk of dementia and Alzheimer's disease. Something that I've talked about. My Edinburgh show last time was all about it because my parents and grandparents. So I am worried about it. I think as long as I don't exhibit any signs of like memory failure, I don't need to worry too much. Basically, I'm reading the newspapers for you. I'm keeping my brain sharp so that you don't have to. This podcast is bad for your brain, is what actually we're learning. But as long as I don't show any signs of my brain, my memory going, we should be all right. Anyway, next story. If we go into the Daily Star, they've got an interesting story today saying Daily Star staves off dementia. According to experts, reading a newspaper is good for your brain. Picking up titles like the Daily Star boosts your memory. So that was surprising news, wasn't it? A landmark US study found that older people who regularly browse a newspaper have a lower risk of dementia over time. The problem is, though, I'm reading the newspapers for you. I think the upside of this is that basically this podcast is bad for your brain. Tricky. Chris Tarrant is in the news. Chris Tarrant is saying that he is moaned that he's tormented by reality TV offers. Let's file this into my new section, My Heart Bleeds For You. Oh, imagine the TV asking you to be on it all the time. Yeah, no, I can't imagine, because slowly but surely, I'm now sitting here in front of YouTube. The former Who Wants to Be a Millionaire host turns them down because he thinks they're all naff. I'll do naff TV. If you want me to go to a jungle and slowly pleasure an otter or whatever they do, I have not watched it in a long while, but I'll have a crack at that. I will shower under a shower or a waterfall in a bikini. That seems to be what they like. I'm wearing white today, so you get a sense of what it looked like. Also, some of the ones who get really upset about eating bugs, that's what we're all going to have to eat. There's loads of news stories about how in the future, because we won't be able to grow beef, we'll have to eat bugs. We'll all be doing I'm a celebrity, get me out of here without any of the celebrity things. Here's an interesting story. A bar worker has won 18, nearly 19 grand's worth of compensation in a race discrimination case because her boss described her as Aryan, not a hairy one, which I also think you should get compensation for, but this is different. Sky Sinclair, not a superhero's normal everyday name, but seems like it should be. 35, who has blonde hair and blue eyes, was asked, how was Germany? That is funny. I know now, me finding that funny is apparently, it's prejudice, but it's kind of funny. Even though she'd no connection to the country. The judge ruled that the bar owner had shown discrimination, causing discomfort. It's a weird time, isn't it? Because the same thing's happening with Sydney Sweeney, you know. Says something about having blue eyes and blonde hair and it all kicks off. It's odd that this is now a thing that you can sue for, though. For being blonde-haired and blue-eyed. You get discrimination. No-haired and green-eyed. Still no money coming my way. It's interesting, isn't it? I'm still in that uncanny valley between two stools. Because the blonde-haired Sydney Sweeney's, it's not fair, I can't do anything without being judged. And the other end of the scale, everyone's on your side. Bald men, still nothing, man, still nothing. Why seeing a fight can turn you violent? Aggression can be contagious, according to research. People who repeatedly observe aggressive behavior, like anyone who travels on public transport, are more likely to engage in violent behavior themselves, like people who travel on public transport. I worry about this because I'm still a big user of X, and for some reason, since the Elon days, it's decided to show me loads of videos of people being beaten up or shot. I don't want that. Is there a box that I can untick? There used to be a phase, back when I was doing headliners, you'd do the show, and you'd check X to see what's happening, and there'd be clips from the show, and underneath it, there'd be about 3 or 4 bots on there just showing nudity. And it'd be hidden, and you'd have to press reveal to see it, but it could have been a comment about me. So you have a little look. Oh, look at that. I didn't ask for that, and that's gone away. But the videos of people getting seriously maimed are still there. It feels like it's not gone in the right direction. Do you know what I mean? One of those is going to make me feel worse at the end of the day. I'll get rid of that one. No one's touching that story again. The UK is lagging behind other high-income countries when it comes to diagnosing diabetes. I'm surprised by this because in a country like the UK, you could probably just presume yes and then filter it later. We keep hearing the stories about how fat the UK is getting. If you just presume everyone's got a touch of it, we would absolutely nail it. Now, I realise, hopefully down here, does it point out the one that it's talking about? Whenever I used to do shows on BBC Radio Kent and there'd be a story about diabetes, we'd talk about it, we'd read out the news story, and there'd be the same bunch of people who would always get in touch to complain because we hadn't pointed out that we were talking about type 2, not type 1. And these were type 1 people who were angry that they were being conflated with type 2. No one was conflating you. Just because your disease has got this. But I understand. It's not fair, is it? Some people, type 2, who've kind of lifestyled their way into it. Type 1, very much not. For me, it's always like, you see those mobility scooters going down the street. If it's someone who's had some sort of a leg injury, or they've reached the stage of their life where they're really old and walking's difficult, they probably don't want to be grouped into the same bunch of people who used to see them quite a lot in Skegness when I holidayed there, have eaten their way onto that thing. Do you know what I mean? And the fact that you can probably take them through a drive-through, I always think you've game over. If you've reached the weight where walking is difficult, so instead of trying, you just get yourself on a mobility scooter, you ain't burning off the calories with walking anymore. Game over, man. But I see. You probably one of them deserves a parking badge, and the other one actually deserves a badge that, I don't know, maybe keeps them further away from the shop. I don't know if is that a thing you can say? Oh, this one doesn't quite fit the zoom in. Zoom out. Putin wants to cling to power until he's 97. Great. So that he can give the keys to the Kremlin to his secret son. This story, for me, personally, really chimes with what it's like to be a late in life dad. You know, I've got a 1-year-old, is my youngest kid at the moment, and the oldest one's only 3, so I started very late. I was busy, but it does mean the idea of handing anything on to your kids. I'd have lived to nearly 100. I mean, look, I'm not in charge of the Kremlin. I don't think my kids would want any of the stuff I've got here. This table webcam barely works. But the idea that you have to hang around later for these extra kids. But apparently the Russian despot said that he's desperate, that's probably why he's called a despot, to remain in charge for another 25 years. Maybe stop starting wars then. Feels like that might help. Just coming up with, vague plans of how you might stay in power. This is the best story of the day, I think. Here he is, Mario. Mario geared up to offer road safety lessons. Brilliant. I think this is fantastic because we hear all the time that young drivers are the most dangerous ones on the road. And I think if you're into Mario, you're 8? So if there are any 8-year-old drivers, I think they probably should do some safety training. It feels like, I'm not sure what safety things you'd learn. Don't drive over banana skins. That's your main one. Try and land on tortoises. Is that how they do it? Anyway, do all of that and I'm sure you'll be absolutely safe. Getting hooked on action and racing games helps slash the number of deadly real-life car crashes, apparently. Research shows that young adults who twiddled the knobs, the likes of Mario Kart, for more than 10 hours a week are actually safer on the road. Which means all of those people who played like Call of Duty or whatever, eventually when Putin stays in power and doesn't stop with these wars, they'll be pretty good. This one. This is from the Metro. Grace Dent and Anaha will succeed Greg Wallace and John Turode in MasterChef by being the judges. It's interesting, isn't it? The BBC have really followed through on the promise of let's make sure the next hosts never come out of their dressing room with a sock on their todger by selecting people who don't probably wear socks, if you look at the way they're dressed, but also a sans todger. If you have a todger, it's going to be difficult to work on some BBC TV shows for a while. The era of the todge, it's not looking good for us, to be fair. But apparently they're over the moon to be joined by the 44-year-old chef. Yeah, I do think it's going to be the most anodyne TV for a while, isn't it? No one's going to be allowed to say anything. But it shouldn't really be about the jokes. Soggy Bottoms on Bake Off is pointless as well. It's just meant to be about the cooking, isn't it? I never understand. I never understand the TV show MasterChef. You're watching other people cook and then watch people do a bit of eating. The one thing that's good about food is not its look, is it? You don't get to, I suppose you can hear it. But of all the senses that I'd like to engage food with, smell, taste, touch, they're better than looking at it. Baffled Brits wouldn't know what to do if they had a gas leak in their home. This story is the best story I've seen for ages in terms of convincing me that we should be forced to have heat pumps. Because the technology's not there and it's not great yet. But I tell you what, if this nation is full of idiots who don't know what to do if there's a gas leak, let's probably just get gas away from them. I don't think they're going to learn. Only 51% feel properly educated about the risks. 48% feel confident that they could turn off their main supply. Do this instead then. Run out of your house and call someone. That feels, as a neighbour, I don't want you thinking, I've got no idea what to do in this gas thing. I'm getting stressed out about it. I'll just have a cigarette. Not if I live next to you. So just get out there and keep running. Don't come back. I'll fix it. And finally, for today, Brits face a week of downpours before Storm Amy is expected on Sunday. And I put this one in the pile of news stories to do because it's the thing with when naming storms. We shouldn't have done that. We nicked that from America. Stop nicking things from America. They're not doing great. But every time we get the one that's named after a woman, I remind you of the survey that said they found that people, in general, are less scared by the storms that are named after women. Which makes no sense because that's just the name. The storms don't have gender. Don't be thinking about that. But also, maybe it's just me. I was going to say, have you met women? Have you seen the people I used to date? Some of them are also terrifying. It shouldn't be seen as something that's not threatening. All it means is that it'll be a storm that turns up, causes loads of damage, but by the end of it makes you feel bad for pointing out the damage, and then when the storm cries, you have to make them feel better. I've said too much. That's all the news stories we managed to find for today. Let's try and get rid of this. Yeah, all the technology. Let's just see what's happening over on social media. Give you a little reminder that if you want to track me down at Mr. Stephen Allen for X, also for Blue Sky and for Threads. On YouTube, you should be watching this. Get subscribed. We need more of those things happening. And Substack. I'll get something churned out there later today. Have you met women? You know what? Joodles is now in the comment section pointing out, I've said, have you met? I don't want to come across as a full Louis Schaefer on this. I just mean you shouldn't presume the benignity of Storm just because it's named after a woman. That would be the stupidest error that one could make, especially if you're in your 20s and you're dating. Don't date storms. Although the one on Channel 5, I've said too much. We're pretty much all sorted. Get subscribed to wherever you can find me. We'll try and do another one of these on Thursday, I reckon. So until then, have yourself a good time. Let's see if any of these jingles play.
Let's get inside the news.